So today I'm gonna give you a review on the Canon Powershot V10. So I bought this camera last year August, so it's like almost 6 months of me using this Canon Powershot V10. I'm not really experienced in giving like technology reviews whatsoever, so this one isn't gonna be your typical like technology reviews on YouTube. This is just me telling you how I feel and what do I like, you know, like my experience on using this camera. Also, this is just like what I feel and like my opinions. It's not trying to say that this is a bad camera or it's a super good camera. It's just how I feel and what have come up using it. Before I give my review on this camera, I figured I should give you a little story time or as to why I wanted to get this camera in the first place. I will put this timestamp here so you can click it or skip ahead to see like the actual review of the camera. So I'm first gonna start with why I wanted to get a camera, or specifically this camera in the first place. So before I got this camera, I have this camera. This camera is the Lumix DC-GX9, which I got from my early bird college registration. I only have that camera at that time and like my phone. I was like stoked. I was like, yes, I finally have a camera. I think that was like my very first camera that I owned. But when I started like doing YouTube for fun, I quickly realized that having this camera is a huge inconvenience to shoot. So I realized quickly that the content that I always like doing is vlogs or makeup videos, content that usually need my face and the camera to face me. But Lumix does not have a flip screen. This GX9 does not have a flip screen, which is really bad because you don't know what you're recording half of the time, which was fine because you know those like very old point and shoot cameras where you just like take a picture. I like that vibe also, which also brings me to another point, is that this camera's lens is super tight. This is the max. Like, I did not zoom in this camera at all and it is like pretty far away and it's already like super tight. I'm gonna show you real quick how do I actually see. So as you can tell, this is my camera and this is the app that I use to connect the screen with, in which all the points that I have brought up would be fine either way. But as I said, a lot of things I have to shoot are vlogs, which is mainly outside. So if I want to like shoot a quick clip of like, I don't know, me trying on glasses, it's gonna take so long to connect my camera to the app because it needs its own Wi-Fi. It takes a long time to detect the phone, detect the camera, to connect to the app, and by that time you're just like, which I think is the ultimate like red flag for me. If your equipment or camera doesn't really motivate you to shoot content. And then I was like, okay, I really need to get a camera that will make me feel happy and convenient me to shoot stuff. This camera is like pretty good, like the quality is really good, good for photography. Videography, not so much. But yes, I still use this camera, especially when I'm doing videos talking about this camera. I actually used it recently in my drawing video. I used this as a second shooter, so that's amazing. So I don't just like throw away my older cameras or cameras that I don't like anymore. I still use them or keep them at least, so that when I need it, they're there. Okay, so moving on leads me to my search hunt. My hunt for the vlogging camera. So I've already established that I wanted... Okay, wait, I didn't really establish that I wanted a vlogging camera. I just wanted another camera for me to use. So I started my heavy search. I was looking at TikTok, I was looking at YouTube, I was looking at websites. What's the best or cheapest like vlogging camera. So after all this searching, I have finally narrowed it down to the Canon Powershot V10 or the Sony ZV-1 or 2. Sorry, 2 and 3. I researched the heck out of 2 of these models. I even made like a little graph here. I'm gonna put this little graph here. So between the 2 of these, technically wise, they kind of have the same, not really, either one wasn't really like overpowering the other. Average battery life, they're both vlogging cameras, they're both light. Oh, they both also had no flash, which I was a little bit like let down because I do like to take photos with flash on, because I mean it just hits different with those flash, which is why a third camera came up to the competition, which is the Canon G7X. So this one, I'm sure you guys have heard it. It's very common. It's very popular as a vlog camera. I feel like everyone who like wants to do vlogs that is like rich will just get the Canon G7X. That one has a built-in flash. These 2 do not, but the Canon G7X was a little bit too expensive for me, so I had to just scrap that and be like, it's fine, I can work with no flash, because this Lumix has a flash, so I'm good. Like it's a pretty big like letdown, but it's not like end of the world kind of thing, you know. In the end, I chose the Canon Powershot V10, and I am gonna tell you why. I'm not gonna lie, throughout this whole like researching thing, I was always so like keen towards the Powershot. I don't know why. When I first saw it, I was like, I don't know, something about it just like made me feel so attracted to this camera. Before I get into the product itself, I want to talk about the reviews that I have found on this camera. So obviously I also did a separate like heavy research on this camera when I really wanted it. And the one thing that I realized from a lot of these reviews is that it's super like technical. It wasn't the type of review that I was looking for. A lot of the people who were reviewing this camera were like professional tech reviewers, and this one was advertised as a vlogging camera. This camera were made for vloggers, and I didn't see much vloggers like reviewing this, because people who usually aren't vloggers, they tend to find different things in different cameras when it's not a vlogging camera. But I did find some vloggers using this camera for the first time, and I was sold. So I'm going to start with the good things first and then the bad things. First thing I would say that is the most stand out, I think, for this camera is the conveniency. It's very light. Well, it's actually not as light as people would review it online. I don't know why people say that it looks very cheap. It feels light, it feels like a toy, which I was scared about because I spent about the original price is 1,008, but I got it for 1,005 because there was a discount. It doesn't feel as light as I thought it would. It feels heavy, and it doesn't look cheap because I think I got it in black. So they had, at that time, they had silver and black, and silver I think was shinier and like the color was lighter, so it looks like plastic. And I wanted white, but they didn't have it, so I got black. And then a few months later, they said, we're releasing a white one. Oh yes, I got the black one. So if you're like considering to get this and you don't want it to look too like toyish, but I swear it doesn't look and doesn't feel as toyish, but just get the black one. So yes, it's light. It's as you can see, it's quite small. You can just grip it on your. I usually just hold it on my hand whenever I go out in public, and it has a built-in tripod. I think that's like the #1 selling point of this camera, I would say, because you're vlogging, you're on the go, you want to like shoot something really quick, you just whip this out and you just put it on a table. It's super sturdy, guys, and just record it. And if you want to do like those like high angle ones, you can also do this. Yeah, it's super easy. It's quite sturdy. This is on my hand and it's quite sturdy. I don't think I've seen other cameras that have a built-in tripod. Not that I know of, but it's really nice to have camera with a built-in tripod so that you don't have to get a separate built-in tripod, and it's small. It's not as bulky if you get a vlogging camera and a tripod and then you just hold it. Like, it's very discreet, very subtle. Okay, secondly, colors. So I know a lot of people that are big fan of Canon or prefer Canon cameras over Sony. One of the biggest points is because Canon has their own colors built in the cameras already, without filters, without anything. They already have their unique colors, which I'm a big fan of. The Powershot has that without filters, without anything. When you vlog, it already has its own color. One problem for me is that it's very saturated color, which is what I would put as bad maybe 1 month in buying that camera. This is just for me, but when I edit, I love color grading. I love to edit the colors. So when I got this camera, I was like, you know, because it was so saturated and so like set in already that I couldn't adjust anything without making it look too much. But as I continue on using this camera, I realized that it makes editing your vlogs much more easier. When you're like out, you have like a lot of different footages with different colors, different lights, different backgrounds, and it is more tedious. Or if you're in the same location, just different like angles, but if they have like very minor like lights, you still have to come in and adjust that. So that one, I realized, I was like, wow, that is pretty convenient. I also discovered their color filters, which are really nice. I'm gonna show you guys this one. Okay, this is the camera, straight up, nothing, no filters, nothing at all. This is how it is. Like, the colors look so good. And then also have this teal and orange, which doesn't look that good here, but I feel like if it's like a Wong Kar Wai or you go to LRT, like public transport, use this filter, it will look so bomb. This one is really nice. This one I have used it in my recent vlog. This one is clear light blue. It is the one that I use in my vlogs the most. It's clear. It already has kind of its own colors, but it is a bit washed out, so I use this one the most so that it has its own color, but I can also go in and edit the color separately again. Or I use this clear purple. So yes, I like it. Super cute. But if you're still someone who loves intense or very detailed color grading in your vlogs, this might not be the camera for you. I'm also not trying to like convince you guys to buy this. Like, I'm just, you know, maybe there are people who were like me and really want to know if this camera is good or not, despite the thousands of bad reviews on the internet. Next is the lens. So I know that the girlies love taking those 0.5 selfies. I love taking those selfies too, and this camera is 0.5. It's super wide, it's good for selfies, it's also good for vlogging, especially when you want to show your surroundings but also show your face inside, you know, show that you're enjoying the environment but also show what's behind you. This one was just like an extra for me because since this camera's lens is so tight, whatever camera I got was an upgrade already. So this was just like a really nice, like, wow. Okay, so the last good thing about this, well, there's like other good things also, but these are like the most standout ones for me, I think, which is the audio. This camera's mic is right here. So this is your camera and the audio is right here, which is, I think, the smartest place to put the mic. Picks up sound so well. All of my ASMR videos here were like no extension mic, like nothing extra, just this. And I wasn't even that close to the camera. I was just like maybe like here. I was like here. I was here tapping on random stuff and it picks up on sound so easily. It picks up on the environment, picks up on what I'm drinking. Like, it's so nice. The audio is so nice. I've also recorded some assignments using solely this microphone, put some noise reduction, normalization, and it sounds like you're on the radio. Honestly, this audio should have been like 1 or 2, like I should have mentioned this earlier because it's such a good factor about this camera. Now we're on to the bad part. So even though this camera is really good, I don't regret buying it, but there are still some bad things that I've discovered throughout using this camera. First bad thing about it, it overheats like crazy. This camera can shoot in 4K, but because this camera can shoot in 4K, and if you do choose to shoot in 4K in the higher setting, it overheats like crazy if you shoot your videos long. So example that I can use this fact for is I wanted to do a talking video like this. Okay, so when I do talking videos like this, I don't hit like record again. I just let it run for maybe like 10 minutes like this. So I tried to do that with my Powershot, and it heated up, which is fine. Like I didn't thought that okay fine, well, like whatever. And then when I wanted to transfer that video to my computer, it said 0 MB, but I could see the video on that camera, but I just couldn't export it. Like my computer couldn't read that video, so I ended up not being able to do that video. I just realized that the longer the video is, the longer I don't know, I didn't know the problem. I tried to search it online, but there was no explanation. It doesn't really annoy me, so what I would usually do is I would just maybe record to like 3 minutes and then press record again again and again, and it's fine. It does read the video. Or I'll just put it down like a lower setting, but I wouldn't want to do that. Like I love like my videos to look clear and crisp. So yeah, maybe if you do more talking content like this, not much of vlogs, not much of just shoot, then you won't like this camera, I think. Okay, final bad thing. I know I only have 2 bad things. These are like the only ones that I can think of now that really stand out to me and make me feel very annoyed. I haven't really found a standout point other than this point I'm going to talk about. So maybe like in a few more months, there's something will pop out, but this is just the 6-month check-in after buying this camera. Last fact, the zoom in and out feature. So you cannot do things like this. Yeah, you cannot do it like that, which is fun and cool and kind of a vibe. But you cannot do that with this Powershot camera, which I'm like, okay, because my older vlogs I love doing that, like the you know, but this one doesn't have it because this lens is fixed. Also, you cannot like take out the lens and put on a new lens. Like, yeah, I know a lot of like photography people are like, oh, we cannot do that. Like, oh yes, because this camera is not made for you, it's made for vloggers. I'm sorry. Okay, yes, so you cannot zoom in and zoom out doing that. Also in photo mode, you cannot zoom in and zoom out ever, which is kind of a bummer because when I do photography, I love taking close-up shots. And I don't bring this camera out every day. I do bring this camera out all the time when I go out. Sometimes photography just comes out in a moment of unexpectancy and you just want to take a picture and you cannot. I mean, you can. You obviously still can, but it's not as like, you know. But in the video mode, they do have a sort of zoom feature. It's not really a zoom feature, it's more of a crop feature. If you zoom in like 1.5, should be still fine. But if you go past 2.0, 3.0, you're gonna get super bad quality video footage, super grainy, which can be a bit hard, especially if you want to do a talking video like this and you don't want to have too much space to deal with, because the main focus is your gorgeous face. That's one of the things that you do have to work with because you're dealing with a wide lens. To conclude this review on the Canon Powershot V10, I love this camera. I like to take videos with it. Most of my videos are using this camera. I don't regret buying it at all. Nah, love it. It's so convenient. I don't need to like get a separate tripod, get a separate mic. This is just it. Like you can just take this and just use it to shoot videos. It's not the best camera if you're not shooting just vlogs like me. If you want to shoot like other stuff, can be a bit tricky to work with this camera. I would recommend this camera to someone who wants to try out vlogging, loves to vlog, if could only wants to vlog, that this is the camera for you. So yeah, that is my review. I hope that this video has taught you or advised you if you are on your camera vlogging hunt, if you wanted an answer on whether you should get that camera or if you should get a vlogging camera, or if not, you just are entertained by this video. So that is all for me today. I'm gonna go and shoot more videos on this camera now. So bye!